2020, Bonnie and Clyde. Tell a little story. And you know who it is. MK Ultra.
27 hearts beat.
I'm the best, yo, stylish, trash, recycling. My bitch, fuck yo, bitch with another bitch, I'm recycling. I'm the shit with another beat, I'm deciphering. Ooh, these niggas can't hide from him. Got a squad full of them, we go Jekyll and hide on them. Never was a fool, so I pull it with a bullet. Gotta pull it with a pull, it's like A-Dot did. Pull up in Nate's gate, new say bulletin ain't dead. That's they made me heard he did. Lyrical prowess, not typical route to keep niggas from around me. They fuck up the vibe. I'm crashing, no visine in the median. Vehicular homicide. Driving in the right side, driver swearing his bitch was down the ride. They never get caught up, didn't get brought up. We can call them Bonnie and Clyde. Clyde was a motherfucker, always hitting the blunt. But Bonnie was a cheap bitch, selling the cunt. Clyde was that nigga, always holding the gun. Clyde was that nigga, always holding the gun. But Bonnie washed them doors and them pockets get run. Up and down the aisle, they were having some fun. Clyde wrote a check that his mouth couldn't cash. Now he's laying in the ditch. Bonnie's still selling ass. Come in, man. No moral disorder. Got it from the top, got a disorder. Piss on them list longer than an Appalachia cola. Tatted on my dick, call me. Now I'm channeling, climate the pedaling, hell too hot, I'm telling them. It's the rigorous mortis, atypical or this who I am. I'm the verse king lurking, never put the pen down. Wouldn't wanna be a man now, that's a man down. Fandom, Clyde, get him now, get him now, get him now. Fan out in the phantom. I run it down, burn it now, learn now, hurt now, lurk now, birds now. You assume that I'm human with a syphilis, super killer, but I heard assume what the fuck you really doing with it. Soon you really gonna do it, I'ma do it, doesn't really mumble to it. Put him in the pot and make it come to it. Rappers get the rappers in the cash fast. Too long with a bone and the last song, fast off. Wouldn't wanna be a man now, that's the last song. Bitch, fuck out of here. And you know, boy.
Oh, and we are back. Welcome to KY5, everybody. I am your host, Fury. Just Fury. I apologize, but we do have Jay. Jay's here as my cohort, but we're still mourning Brock. We're mourning him. We're here in memoriam. Hope he's having a good time. We're going to be talking to Jacob Buchman from Monsters and Munchkins, a D&D and table game orientated channel and content creator. I met him in a Warhammer 40K group on Facebook. I think this is going to be a fun show. Jay, how do you feel?
I'm tired.
You do look very tired.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. Yes. Fuel is Red Bull. Red Bull is fuel, which would mean kerosene.
Wow, that works instantly.
Kerosene is Red Bull.
Woo!
All right, so let's go ahead and bring on Jake.
Hey.
Hello, Jake. How you doing?
I'm quite well. How are you?
Oh, I am just peachy. I'm so glad that I'm not in my mundane life doing what I do for a living. So let's just jump right into it. How are you doing as of late with everything going on?
You know, I'm doing well. The school, I'm going to college in this town, and there's two colleges, and the school across the street from mine shut down this morning because of COVID. So we'll see how we're doing tomorrow.
Oh, geez. Now, does that throw a wrench in your plans, or are you like, you know what, fuck it, I'm good. I'm gonna dive into what I like.
No, yeah, I'm pretty good. Like if I close down, that just means I got more time to paint stuff. So I'm pretty happy either way.
Excellent. How you doing, Justin? Thanks for joining. Eric, thanks for joining. Lou, Sean, appreciate you guys. So how long you been doing this? You started a channel and you're creating content. So how long you been doing it?
So gaming in general, I started when I was probably like 6 years old, and my uncle got me started with his old D&D books when he was in the Army. So that was my introduction to gaming, and then I got into Magic: The Gathering when I was in middle school. And then, yeah. And then in high school, the Spanish teacher started a D&D 5e group during our elective period. So I went to that, and I got really into it. I took a break for a little while. I came back. The group was between DMs trying to figure out what they wanted to play. And I just was like, why not? I'll take over. And I just started running the game. I've been doing that ever since. And then towards the end of 7th edition 40K, when like Magnus and Screamer Star and Azrael Dark Angel Bubbles were running around and all that incredibly broken stuff, I got into that. And then I've been sticking with 40K ever since, mostly playing Chaos.
Okay, so you're Espanol man? Jay's like, I don't speak any of that.
Darn.
So you and Brock would have gotten along. Brock's a chaos guy. Shu from Schuster Studios is a big chaos guy. I'm a space wolf guy. I'm a son of Fenris.
Hey, it's all blood for the blood god, so we're good up in here.
Yeah, right. As long as shit's dying, everything's gravy.
Yeah,
I like it. Okay, so what makes you keep pushing forward in the table gaming community? Is it the creative outlet, or give me an idea what your main goal is driving forward? Because I mean, the longer people play D&D, a lot of people either A, get burned out, or B, change their game up to a whole completely different level. And like everybody watching right now, D&D, I think it was at 16. I mean, 16, you're pretty much a god at that point in the game. Level 16. So do you do a lot of homebrew or modules?
Yeah, so I've never run a module in my time running the game. It's all been homebrews. For my channel, I will be running Icewind Dale as the first thing we live stream. So that'll be the first module I will have ever opened. Okay. But that's just because Icewind Dale is badass and it was such an awesome video game.
Okay. I played. I have a really close friend, childhood friend, who ran modules, and all the modules that he did. Actually, I think he only ran one at that point because his other one was homebrewed. But the module he ran was the Tomb of Annihilation, and that was a motherfucker. Yeah, that was a hell of a campaign. Yeah, we just beelined for the objective. He even said, "You guys cut right through the chase." It was like, nope, we're not dying on a godforsaken island.
It's not the shit show that is the Tomb of Horrors, but yeah, it is a grinder.
I've heard some shit about the Tomb of Horrors. I've heard some shit. If it's anything like the Tomb of Annihilation, just getting to your quarry is the biggest pain in the ass.
The Tomb of Annihilation makes the Tomb of Horror. Yeah, the Tomb of Annihilation significantly better written than the Tomb of Horrors. Tomb of Horrors is a nightmare.
Excellent. So, do you have a preference when you approach D&D? Like, do you prefer being a DM over being a player, or does it matter to you?
I really like both. I think if I had to pick one, I would pick DMing, but that might just be because I mostly DM.
Okay.
So, I love the world building. I love making NPCs. I love fucking with my player's head and making these really weird monsters for them to mess with. So that's where it's at for me.
How many games do you think you've DM'd in your life?
How many actual groups, or how many sessions?
Yeah, how many sessions, or how many actual groups? Sorry.
How many groups? I think I've run for about a dozen groups.
12 is a pretty good number, because I tell you what, it's really hard to keep a group going with everybody's different schedules and also personality conflicts. You know, sometimes groups grow apart. Sometimes people get sick of each other. It just and you always try to keep it like an outlet to where, this is our escape. This is what we do to have fun, and you can't make it into this drama-ridden bullshit. Like a Cold War war room. You don't want it like that.
Because then what's the point?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's no longer a hobby anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to keep the story running. It's got to be fun.
Well, I don't know if you've seen The Greatest Story Ever Rolled. Some of the
people see it last night.
Oh, you did? Which episode? Which episode?
The last one that you guys did. That was an interesting opening.
I will tell you this flat out. This is the first time I've ever done an purely online dungeon. And the fact is that guy above me, Brock, Lou, and Jeff all kept on throwing me the most hellacious knuckleballs and curveballs. They were trying to die. Like, the moment it happened, and Renal almost got killed by fucking Jay. He cold-cocked him. He was about once after we finished the first session of 4 hours, a great story ever rolled. Jeff finally was like, "Hey, I almost died in like the first 20 minutes."
I tried.
I have this habit whenever I'm a player. The first character I roll up usually always dies.
That's me.
Yeah, it just happens.
I mean, I killed people without even doing anything. I thought I was invisible.
Yeah, that did happen. The bush did happen. He was in concealment, not cover, and he rolled like a 5 to hide in the bush, and for some odd reason, I kept on crit failing on every creep that was coming to attack him.
I was just like,
but I'm historically a bad dice roller, no matter what.
Okay.
So
I'm the opposite. I have historically amazing luck, and it pisses off a lot of people. But
This would be interesting. Should get him on to roll some dice for you.
yeah, I think so. I think that would be
dice.
fun. I think just to roll dice.
there was a time playing 40K where I would go to a tournament, and I'd always play my friend Chris first round. And like the third or fourth time it happened, I'm like, "Hey, Chris, we're playing," and he just walked out.
He's like, I forfeit. You're just gonna win.
We might have to take you to Vegas.
Yeah, I've never played crash before, but there's always room for first. There's always room for first. I roll snake eyes all the damn time, even with a 20-sided fucking dice. I don't know how it happens.
That's a skill.
Yeah, I have no idea how it happens. And well, to be fairly honest, the best D&D memory I've ever had was I think my second character ever, being an adult, was getting ready to get that death touch. That like if you don't make your check correctly, you're dead. Yeah, I rolled a nat 20 on it, and the whole table erupted. Yeah, they were excited for me because I've almost died like the entire 4-month campaign, like every session of every week. So they're like, oh my gosh, Fury rolled a natural 20. Yay! He's out of the Special Olympics.
So were you casting it, or were you making the save?
I was making the save. I was about ready to get deader than shit very quickly, and I just rolled right in front of everybody and nat 20, and it was ridiculous. Well, that's a good question, Sean. Do you meet a lot of women playing D&D?
Surprisingly, there are more girls playing D&D around here than I expected. Yeah.
What's the longest game you ever grouped?
What's the longest game I've ever ran?
Yeah.
I think 2.5 years. We're on a temporary hiatus while college gets going back up. But yeah, we're planning on jumping back in. Our longest session was just over 7 hours.
Jeez.
So,
yeah. And out of all the groups, like what percentage is women?
In that group, there are no women, but in other groups that I played in, it's anywhere from 25% to half.
Jeez, they're catching on.
Man. Nerds do it better because we appreciate it more.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
we appreciate it more. No gimmicks.
I'm gonna have to start posting Reggie on my Instagram.
Hell yeah. Reggie's a household name. He's a TMI mascot now. Love possums. What's the walk factor?
What gets the girls going in a D&D game for women?
Well, it's not when I consistently kill their character, so I tuned that down a little bit.
Okay.
When you spare them?
Yeah.
You need to.
The wham factor goes like this when you spare them.
Yeah, you need to figure out how to kill the WAP.
Perfect pop culture reference, which leads us into our segue. Please, if you guys get time, check out Monsters and Munchkins. They're on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. By that name, Monsters and Munchkins. Yep. Also, go ahead and smash that like and subscribe button for them as well as us. Because we're KY5 Gaming. We're bringing you these guys. These guys are here. So go ahead and smash that subscribe button. It really helps us there on the YouTube. If you've already subscribed to the Facebook, it literally takes you like 5 seconds. Come on, guys. Come on. I wore this fancy-ass shirt for everybody that's watching right now.
Let's
this fancy-ass shirt. So just
Fury, the other Fury, approves.
Yeah. I hope that he heals in time and you quit shooting arrows at him and throwing them at people.
I can't help it.
So, leading into that, we're also going to say that I would like to know a little bit more. Do you got any anecdotal things that you just stick out in your mind? Because I find myself being a fat, hairy nerd, especially when I'm upset or when I'm stressed out at work or whatever. And in the quiet moments, I think of something in a D&D campaign or a dungeon that I was in, and then chuckle to myself like, wow, that was ridiculous and funny. I can't believe that worked.
Yeah.
Got anything like that?
Sure. So my best friend was DMing a campaign so I could play for once, and it was in Eberron, and it was in the Sharn. We were in the city of Sharn, and I discovered this amazing thing. If you have the Featherfall spell and Shatter, you can always get away from the authorities by blowing up a part of a bridge and feather falling down. So that's
that leads me into metagaming. God damn it. Metagaming. How do you feel about players that come into your dungeon and immediately try to suss out the metagaming? How do you feel about that, and how do you deal with that as a DM?
Right. So there's absolutely a line here of metagaming and what I feel is acceptable and unacceptable, because I think there's a bit of metagaming that's okay. Because, like, for instance, I was running this one campaign, and they were trying to get from point A to point B, and they were underneath the castle. And they were like, well, one of the players said, well, if we go into the castle and we kill everybody and we take their shit, then we might get a level up before we get to the next part. And the other players were like, that's metagaming. That's metagaming. And I'm like, yes, but at the same time, your characters know that the more they practice and the better they get, and the more times they do things, they get better at doing their shit. So that type of metagaming, I'm actually not entirely against. If, like, your Berserker Barbarian has done 3 frenzies and he asks the cleric for a greater restoration, that's another thing that I'm okay with. I'm not necessarily okay in combat with other players telling other players what to do. Metagaming a little bit, especially outside of combat, that's fine. Micromanaging other players with metagaming is absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, you're cheapening the experience for people.
Exactly.
I mean, let them play their tune the way they want to play it.
Exactly.
And that, Jay, you got something?
No, we just do a lot of drugs on ours.
I mean, I feel like that's part of what you guys are. I mean, you guys are trash. I mean, absolute trash.
And we try to peer pressure Renault because he doesn't like drugs.
Yeah, exactly. Paladin with 100 bombs. Ugh. The Paladin is just like a force multiplier, and that's the other part of metagaming is when somebody just builds a character specifically to just wreck the shop, like wreck the game. Essentially, just I'm going to beat the game. You don't beat the game at D&D.
You don't. And I just filmed a video on this yesterday, and I was working on it. I'm just working on editing it. I'm putting it out next Wednesday. So I think there is a line where power gaming is okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with building a good character. Right? There are people that want to be good at the game, and I think that's awesome. I want to be good at the game when I play, so I'm going to make optimized choices. But finding every little combination to try to break it, there's a line where it becomes not okay.
Yeah, well, and then that's the guy that is rolling dice to hit, and is trying to gauge at what point is he going to hit it and what he's aiming for at that point.
Exactly.
I don't want the focus to be on your dice and you playing a video game. I want you experiencing the world and experiencing the combat and playing your character to his ambitions and to what your archetype is. So focusing archetype is really important, and that's one thing. Jay, I'm pretty sure that's your first dungeon, right? That we're playing on KY5, and it's Lou's first dungeon. It was Brock's, I believe, first dungeon, and it was Jeff's first dungeon. And all 4 new players, once they got a beat on how the dice work and how, what you do for when things happen, they really just fell into their roles, like in what their archetypes were.
Yeah.
Now I'm really feeling my character. and I play like a troll too, so that's the best part of it.
Like,
he's a drow. Yeah. I mean, a drow's going to be an asshole, especially above ground.
Yeah, you got it. My brother plays a dwarf barbarian in the campaign that's been going for 2.5 years, and every single time he attacks, -5 to hit, +10 to damage, reckless attack. Every single time he goes in.
One of these times, I'm going to hit you. When I hit you, I'm going to kill you. It may be very few and far between, but when I hit you, man, I'm going to cave your head in.
Oh, it's brutal when he lands one, that's for sure.
And have you ever had any situations where a feud, whether in person or in game, has erupted? Player versus player combat. How do you handle that? Do you allow it? Do you not allow it? And then how do you negate it?
So if my players try to fight each other, if there's like a very valid story reason for it, I'll generally let it go and let it fall where it may. Because in my session zeros, we always talk about the fact that characters die and you all need to be responsible for your decisions. And if you're going to do something dumb and you die, that is just par for the course. Outside of game, I always try to resolve conflicts between players. I don't like people being unhappy when we play D&D. This is D&D. We're here to have fun. So I always sit down. I'll try to sit down with them individually and be like, hey, can we work this out? And if not, there's a ton of groups in our area that I'm sure we can, break off, play somewhere else. No hard feelings.
It never really goes that way, does it?
No,
there's always hard feelings. There's always hard feelings. Yeah. There's always one party that's like, yeah, I'm cool, and the other one's like, nah, fuck that guy. And you're like, well, I know when he has to leave, then. God damn it.
Has it almost ever turned into a fist fight or something crazy in person?
No, my friends are nerds. They never try to physically hurt each other.
I would physically hurt Jeff and Lou. I would punch them in their face.
Oh fuck! So which leads us on to Justin's question here. How do you combat your players going off the rails too much, or do you just adopt that play style?
So my players, we're usually pretty good.
He means like going off of the page. Is that correct, Justin? Yes or no? Going off the page, not following the objective. Yes, no. Fuck it. We'll ad-lib it. Go ahead and answer how you want.
Let's ad-lib it. My players are generally speaking pretty good about staying on task. If they're not, one of the players at the table usually speaks up and says something. And if that doesn't happen, I will say, hey, guys, like off-topic conversations need to stay out of the game, and let's just focus right now.
Need you here. You're at a 10, need you at a 2.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha. All right, yeah.
And in combat, because like one of the things I absolutely hate, people being on their phones, people not paying attention during combat, or people not knowing what's going on when we get to their turn in combat. Like, it's one thing if they're a new player, but like if you're level 16 and you're trying to figure out what spell you want to cast,
you weren't thinking about it the whole time, then
exactly.
I mean,
Jeez, who does that remind you of, Fury?
Oh, Lou, we're gonna get you told up. It's okay, Lou. Lou's working. He picked an actual really tall order as a first time player. Also, with having nobody near him physically to kind of guide him as a wizard. Wizard, sorcerer, warlock. They're pretty hard classes to grip, and so is a cleric. But that cleric is my favorite class.
So cleric was the first thing I ever played. So I have a soft spot in my heart for clerics.
Yeah, clerics they do just as much damage as everybody else. They can do magic and they can heal. I mean, what better class to roll up a DPS tank and a AoE fucking nuke? A cleric. I don't know why anybody doesn't think of this when they build characters.
If you ever really, we're going to be doing a one-shot here in a little bit where the main, where the BBEG is spreading and opening bags of beans around the world as a joke, as a total joke. And my brother rolled up a Tempest Cleric Kenku with Booming Blade and a whip.
That was one of my premier characters. Reagan Smielder was a Tempest cleric. He followed Tempest devoutly. He was a war domain cleric. He was pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie. He got killed. He had the distance. He never died.
Did he have a whip?
No, he had a huge ass fuck off Fist of Tempest as a hammer, and then he summoned a molten Fist of Tempest.
You're a more hands eye guy.
Yeah, and then he talked like Brian Blessed from dive my Hawkman dive. Yeah, it was pretty good.
That's pretty good.
And since I looked like fucking Gimli, I kind of put a little sauce on it on the back end of it, so he had a very baritone voice, so that was fun.
Don't tell the Korean.
Don't tell the Korean. So we're talking about characters, archetypes, and just kind of metagaming, all that fun shit that goes with the D&D conversation. So we're going to roll into technology here, because you had mentioned phones. a lot of the table games are moving to where they're supported by apps and character sheets, technologically wise. How do you feel about that? Do you feel yourself as a traditionalist D&D player that likes the parchment and quill and physical dice, or do you feel like that's a good thing that's moving the ball forward and morphing the D&D crowd or D&D potential to have more people come in and be easier to play? It's more user friendly anyways on the D&D Beyond app, in the way I see it, to where everything is where it needs to be. Did he freeze?
I think so.
He froze.
I think so. But we're talking about this. Yeah, he'll be back. Let's get Thaddeus on here. You want to join us, Thaddeus?
I'm completely lost to this whole
Yeah,
conversation.
you are lost.
Well, while we're waiting for Jake, what are you lost about? Come on, Thad, throw it on me. I mean, you're a tech guy, I'm a nerd, so we should be best friends.
Well, I actually came back awake when you started talking about the fact that the D&D are moving to more of these kind of phone-based apps, or moving to apps. I have a friend that plays a lot of Hearthstone, and that was a big thing on the PC, and then moving to mobile. And I'd like to see if he's a purist. Is he going to embrace this new technology that's going to make, I don't know, it may lower the barrier to even idiots like myself to come in and if participate somewhat.
If Jay could literally come in and destroy and decimate the game, and I'm not saying that because we're not all equal. Koreans are kind of above us. That's just their higher life form. It's just, if you don't agree with me, well then fuck you, everybody out there. Koreans are just a higher life form. He figured it out pretty quick. Also, tune in to Lou Starsky Plays Ball tonight. Thad will be joining him.
What do you got going on tonight with Lou?
We have a special guest coming on, a rapper by the name of Yamin. And I wish I could give you a sample of his hot fire, man, but I've been listening to him today. It's going to be a little lighter of a topic than we are typically used to, bouncing around and playing catch on Lou Starsky Plays Ball. We're going to talk hip hop. We're going to talk,
Nice.
culture. We're going to talk, a lot about this artist and talk some hip hop, man. So it's going to be a blast.
I love music. I like how today we started off with MK's music. You got music on your show. We got a couple of musical guests.
I didn't think MK could spit that kind of hot fire, man.
Dude,
he's hot.
That song thumps. The Bonnie and Clyde song thumps. As soon as
We got a few musical surprises tonight on the Nameless program following Lou Starsky Plays Ball. And
There we go. Yeah.
back.
Yeah. My house Wi-Fi just kind of died, so I'm now on my phone.
It's okay.
It's all good. It's all good.
I can see I can see if you have boogers now.
Let's see.
Again,
That's the view all the WAP
ignore
D&D girls get to
Yes.
see.
There we go.
right before they roll a critical fail. Got you.
To not offend our Italian American viewers, it's actually WAP.
It's wet.
Yeah, but in the song she says WAP.
See, yeah.
So
I mean, she does.
What the hell is the matter with her?
It's not my song. It's her song.
Why did she do that?
According to everybody else.
Anyway, all right. Yeah. Let's bring the conversation back to something that is a lot less stupid.
So I'm gonna go ahead and revisit the. Are you a traditionalist for the pen and quill? I mean, the quill and parchment, or do you see that the technology, the apps, and everything are pushing the game to a better or greater level to where people can attain and be able to play the game easier?
Yeah, so I like both. I don't think there's anything wrong with either. It's whatever you prefer. I do a lot of stuff on my computer for actually managing stat blocks and running monsters. But when I'm actually making notes for my sessions, I do it with pen and paper just because that's what I've always done. So,
Right.
I think it's whatever everybody wants to do. And if playing on a computer is easier for you, I think that's awesome.
it's easier when we're doing stuff like this. That's
Exactly, yeah. And like now with COVID, I have to run my next campaign online. So,
Exactly.
yeah, no, the computer is definitely a great boon to the hobby in general.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that it kind of opened it up at least for even spread a little bit more awareness, because now people can actually see what the game's about and how it's played, and that it may seem complicated and intimidating at first, but once you get beat on why you roll and when you roll and how you roll, it's all right in front of you, then it's pretty simple stuff afterwards.
Yeah, it's really great, and there's a bunch of free apps. There's D&D Beyond. There's Tabletop Simulator, which I personally really enjoy. So there's so many different options out there now. You can really do it however you want.
I like it. How do you feel about cheating in D&D?
Oh, cheating! Why would you cheat at a game of make-believe? This is a game of make-believe.
I just want to hammer that point across for anybody who gets in. You're not going to get anything out of cheating in D&D, so don't even fucking try it.
Is that a message to Jeff?
Yeah.
No, it's not a message to Jeff. Okay. I'm not singling Jeff out. I'm just saying that it's a shared narrative. Everybody's telling a story. Everybody's got time invested. Everybody's got experience invested. So it's just it's just like an aimbot in a game. You just ruin the game for everybody. And, that's bullshit. So try to stay away from cheating.
For my players, just so we're all always on the same page, like I don't choose to play with anybody that would cheat. But just so we all know that nobody's ever cheating, we roll out in the open. We roll our stats together. We roll hit points together. So nobody's just like grabbing a die and then like every time it's a 20 and nobody else ever gets to see it.
My character has 90 hit points at level 3.
Yeah, well, my favorite was when I was playing in a group and the sorcerer had like 150 hit points and the fighter had like 90. I'm like, wait.
How did that happen?
That's not right.
How the hell did that happen? So do you have a favorite class and race?
Oh, God, that's a tough question. I have a soft spot in my heart for clerics because it was the first thing I ever played.
Right.
I think I've been messing around with a lot of homebrew stuff that I think is really cool, but at the end of the day, I don't really think you can beat like an old-fashioned warlock. There's just something so cool about just Eldritch blasting stuff all day.
Yeah, Eldritch Blast. Do the line.
Yeah, Eldritch Blast.
See the memes.
Yeah.
How about video
Eldritch
games?
Blast,
how about video games? Do you partake in any MMO RPGs or stuff like that?
I wish I had time for it. I just don't.
I always wondered if they were going to come out with like an awesome D&D game, but it's too vast. Now that
I do have to say the old D&D games like Neverwinter Nights and Icewind Dale.
I was going to say that Neverwinter Nights was great for LAN parties. It was awesome.
Exactly. If you're gonna play a D&D game, play one of those.
Okay, we'll do.
Yeah, Neverwinter Nights. I think we got collectively in a LAN party. I think we had 10 guys all running in the same game, and you could actually kill each other and take each other's shit. Yeah. It could be brutal. We were grinding the dungeons out together, and then once we found out that we could kill each other, it just turned into an absolute slugfest in the Temple of Tyr there in the city, under the city rather.
Rough. That's real rough.
You're talking video games wise, Justin?
I'm assuming so.
Or actually playing 40K D&D RPGs.
Ooh, I think that might be more of his question. You're talking about Deathwatch, I believe.
There's a few.
I've yet to get a chance to partake in a Deathwatch game. I would really like to, on account of the fact that I've read almost every Warhammer 40K novel. So
yeah,
I feel like
the Horus Heresy novels are where it's at. But there's a few good 40K RPGs. There's Deathwatch. There's, I want to say, Inquisitor. I don't remember the name of it. It had something to do with heresy. And then there's Wrath and Glory.
Oh, actual book campaigns. I am not familiar with that.
I've never actually seen.
Oh yeah, one. Okay. Exactly. Your mind was exactly where his was.
Yeah,
absolutely. Look at that.
No, they're fantastic. My brother wants to run Wrath and Glory because he's a big Wrath and Glory guy. So he wants to run that on the channel. So we're definitely going to get that on there at some point too.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'd like to see that because I would like to possibly get into maybe running one of those because, again, I've read almost every friggin' omnibus and novel that they've ever come out with the Black Library. So I think the canon is my most favorite thing of that whole.
That's the thing about 40K, like for a tabletop game, it just checks so many boxes for me. It's got great models. It's got a really cool lore. It's got a massive community, big events. Like, even if the game isn't balanced at times, there's just so much good stuff there.
Absolutely, absolutely, and plus was it THC, THQ? Maybe I'm just thinking of drugs. THQ, I think. When they picked up the Dawn of War title and made it, that was the best thing that could have ever happened to Gamers Workshop. That was by far one of the best RTSs of its time, and today still stands the test of time, in my opinion.
It definitely does.
The nerd above me, if you are ever into games or get time, go to Steam there, Thad, and pick yourself up the Legacy Warhammer 40K Dawn of War box.
Okay.
And it will just be a shit kicker for you. You'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't know this game existed. No, I love this game.
I've heard about it. I've not played any Dawn of War. I've played some Space Hulk. That's about it.
Dawn of War, as far as an RTS is concerned, conceptually kind of set the bar extremely high. When people thought that Reign of Chaos for Warhammer or Warcraft 3 was like it for RTSs, man, no. Warhammer 40K, Dawn of War, the 3 or 4 expansions that followed it before Dawn of War 2. Dawn of War 2 is a squad-based game.
Nice.
I'm not saying it's bad, but it's different than their original title they came out with. But it's amazing. It's immersive. It makes your units are important. Whereas in Warcraft, you just throw in Zerg units at people. Where if you lose a squad of something, it hurts financially because you upgrade on the unit to make them better or bigger. And so losing entire cohorts or squads is a big thing. It's a big deal.
So it's kind of similar to the actual game in that regards. That's kind of cool.
Correct. Exactly. That's exactly what they had in mind when they made it. So yeah, check that out, everybody. If you're a gaming geek like everybody else on here, and you have a PC, grab that up. Swear to you, you'll never regret it. 9th edition and the way the narrative is going. How do you feel about that 9th edition?
So 9th edition, right now, I don't think we can make any declarative statements about it because it's kind of like the beginning of 8th edition where it's the Wild West and nobody knows what the hell's going on. Overall, I like it. There are some things I'd like to see changed, but I think we're going in a good direction.
The favoring of the fucking Ultramarines really pisses me off, but you knew that from my posts earlier.
Yeah. So I'm not a big Ultramarines guy. There's like 3 Ultramarine players in my neighborhood, which is a little annoying. I'm related to one of them. So that's rough, but it is what it is. I at least in tournaments right now, I'd rather play Ultramarines than some of the other bullshit that they put out for Space Marines.
I mean, and it seems like they took a lot of the oomph that the Space Wolves had, where their quick attack initiative, first move, all that other fun shit went bye-bye. They nerfed the shit out of the Grey Knights over time, the Grey Knights were pretty badass before.
The 5th edition Grey Knights were really good. But however, I do have to say the last update for the Grey Knights in Psychic Awakening, they got real good.
I haven't seen it. So
it's brutal. They can make their Stormbolters psi weapons. They can make their psi weapons 2 damage. They can reroll wounds.
Oh man.
They can get scaling smites. Grey Knights are no joke now.
Oh boy. So a squad of Grey Knights could probably change an entire game.
Oh yeah, like Paladins, Grey Knight Paladins, they can do -1 to wound, -1 damage, fight on death. There's so much cool Grey Knight stuff right now.
A lot of shit flying at you at once. That's fucking great. I've seen a lot on public forums, Warhammer 40K, the main group. A lot of Orc players pissed off about they didn't see anything balanced or good for them.
I think the big problem is right now people are trying to take their 8th edition lists and adapt them to 9th edition rather than starting over.
Because it's pretty much a whole new game.
Orcs won a GT like 2 weeks ago. So Orcs aren't dead. It's just a different list.
So it's a whole different way to play them at this point.
Exactly. You need fast-moving units. You need your vehicles. You need your infiltrating units. And you need like 3 burn bombers.
Fast attack. Okay. You're going with the Blitzkrieg approach with Orcs.
Now. Yeah. No, that's the way Orcs, and it's brutal. I just played a game against it. It's rough stuff. All
right. That's something to look forward to. Those of you who haven't gotten into the 9th edition books yet. Well, it sounds like things are getting ready to heat up. It sounds like the way to play armies are changing and morphing. So don't hate on it until we know exactly what the hell's going on.
And like we've got codexes coming out. We've got Necrons and Space Marines in October. Then we got Chaos in November. So the game's going to be changing real fast.
Excellent, excellent. So Nate Henry, I assume, is a cohort of yours. What makes you most excited about Icewind Dale?
What makes me most excited about Icewind Dale? Oh man, I'm a big horror fan. Stephen King was what got me into actually like reading books and not pretending that I read books. Yeah, I'm a big fan of horror in D&D, especially the problem with horror in D&D is the fact that your players are so powerful, they just kind of run through stuff. But playing in a lower level campaign, especially in that setting where like being outside is dangerous for you, I think there's a lot you can do with building up to fights with monsters, like showing the effect of the monster, having the players deal with the repercussions of what the monster has done, and not just killing it in one go, and just letting them absorb the environment around it.
Like to understand what's at stake, setting the mood, essentially.
Exactly.
The mood and the feeling of everything.
Like when you read Dracula, like the cool thing is not the fight with Dracula. It's all the shit that Dracula did to mess with everybody before that.
The build-up.
Exactly. And I think there's a ton of potential for that in Icewind Dale.
Ooh. I'll have to take a look at Icewind Dale myself. Maybe get some inspirations from it there. That also, sounds awesome.
This is the first book in a while where we're getting stat blocks for gods. So I'm excited for that.
For gods?
Yeah, Oral the Frost Maiden, the Queen of the Frost Giants, has a few stat blocks in the book.
Shit.
Yeah, it's really cool.
No more having to just kind of figure out how to make a god and then watching somebody kill it.
Yeah. Well, I can send you a link if you want to throw like legit gods at your players. I have a link that I put in the description of my videos for it. It's called Epic Monster Updates, and it has like really hyped up versions of all the gods. But I'm excited to see something from Wizards of the Coast.
Excellent. Yeah, that I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys put out. That should be pretty neat. At this time, if everybody could like, share, subscribe there on Monsters and Munchkins, as well as KY5 Gaming. Every little react, comment, or dialogue you have with us is just one step closer to not giving money to big corporations for advertisement.
Exactly.
That's a big thing we're into right now. It's not giving rich more money.
It's a good thing to be into.
Absolutely. Do you want to plug anything with your sweet-ass graphic here?
Yeah, I would just say go check out the channel. We've got a bunch of stuff coming. We're starting, in addition to Icewind Dale, first session is going to be on our Twitch and our YouTube on September 18th. We are starting a Warhammer 40K narrative campaign, and we're also going to be doing competitive games for Warhammer 40K to kind of show you what we think some armies can do in 9th edition that people are missing out on. And we're also going to be getting Star Wars Legion and at some point War Machine onto the channel when we get some of stuff painted.
Nice. You got a lot going on.
Yeah. This is why I don't have time for video games right now. Painting, airbrushing, rattle cans, getting terrain, actually having to paint terrain. So there's a lot of paint everywhere. All my clothing is stained.
That leads me to my other question. So for combat in D&D, do you prefer or do you have a preference on using models and terrain or leaving it to the imagination of the players? And explain your answer.
So it's got to be, I think there's no definitive answer for this because obviously if you don't have minis, you don't have minis. But I think it adds a ton to the game having being actually able to see what the combat is. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be describing stuff because obviously, no, this is still a game of make-believe where we're trying to picture things. So make sure your descriptions are still up to par. I've known some DMs, as soon as they put the minis down, they just stop describing stuff and they're like, figure it out. So keep your descriptions going, but actually having minis there so there's never any, oh, well, I thought my fireball could not hit these people. Or, oh, well, I thought I was closer to him. We all always know what's happening. We all always know what's going on. We know where everybody is. We know what everybody's doing. I have condition rings for everybody. So if somebody's paralyzed, if somebody's petrified, we know what's going on. We know what they're under. We know what the cleric or the bard has to do to help them. It just makes combat more fun, in my opinion.
Right. I just got this awful harkened memory back to the fact that Lou kept on making Machiavelli try to hit his fireball and just kept on hitting trees and lighting forests on fire and killing animals and ecosystems. So,
you hate to see it.
Lou, the internet knows that you burn forests. Are you sure you're not Australian, Lou? Are you sure?
Oh, too soon.
I said it on air, so.
That's why I said it just now. I know who's watching this going, you motherfuckers. Oh, fucking A. So you kind of answered this a little bit, but you said group-wise it was 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Longest campaign ran, same campaign. Yeah, continuity campaign-wise, from session 0 to how was your longest crawl?
That would be the last campaign that is currently on a COVID hiatus, so that would be session 0 to level 16.
Okay, and that's the 2.5-year group?
Yeah, 2.5
years. That's the same dungeon? Or same campaign, rather?
Same campaign.
Holy shit.
Completely
how often do you guys play? Once a week? Twice a week?
It used to be once a week. Sometimes it was twice a week. Right now we're on a break. But when we get going again, I could imagine we're probably going to try to do another 7-hour session and cover a bunch of content and then just go back to a 1-week schedule.
Ambitious, Jake. I like it. Ambitious. Excellent.
Could you do that, Fury? Could you do a 7-hour session? Could you DM?
Yeah, I could do it. As long as I'm off, I could do it. I couldn't imagine how many cats I would be herding with you guys, but I could do it. I could do a 12-hour if we really wanted to.
Fine, let's do it. Let's do a 24-hour telethon. Let's do a telethon while we're at it.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah,
I'll just give them my work mobile.
Yeah, we need to set up a PayPal.
We're not going to shut up and stop rolling dice until you pay us.
Yes.
Well, yeah, okay. So Nate's got a good one. Speaking of painting, what's your favorite model you ever painted?
I've got him right here on my desk. The start of my cheesing in Warhammer 40K. Where's my camera? There we go. Magnus. Cool. Yeah, when this model came out, I knew I had to have him. I did him with color changing paints. He was the biggest cheese ball for a while in the game. He's a little bit tamer now, but I absolutely love him.
That's impressive. That is a huge model.
Yeah, there's a lot. And the color changing paints too, they don't just go on. You need to do like 4 or 5 coats over the same area. So that was 2 solid weeks of just painting him.
2 solid weeks of wings. Son of a bitch, I hope I can see his wings. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Even eat wings after that.
Hey, Jay, you want to go to Wings, Etc.? Fuck off.
Nope. 2 weeks.
No wings.
Nope.
Wings don't exist in my life anymore.
Yeah.
Hey, Mikey. Hey, Shu in the stream. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. Also, everybody, if you got the time, he's got the time at Schuster Studios. Mike Schuster, he was on a couple months ago with us. Painting big D&D and Warhammer 40K nerds.
He could have painted your wings in a week.
I mean, Shu would probably been motherfucking everybody that ever tried to get a hold of him while he did it.
These are the only wings I need.
Hey, Red Bull, we're accepting your sponsorship now. Okay, so any specific character type you can't stand as a player or a DM? Any type of like, God damn, that is overdone, or would you just stop?
So, I don't think there's anything wrong with playing an archetype that's been done a bunch of times before, except for the person who doesn't work with the party. That guy needs to go find a different group to play with.
Group of dudes that also don't want to work with the party, so that you have 4 or 5 individuals that don't want to work with each other at all.
I'm like, why am I even running for it? I'll just sit down with you one-on-one and play D&D. We don't need to get together.
Yeah. So that guy. Mine is pirate.
Yeah, that guy.
Mine is pirate. I cannot stand pirates.
See, all the games I've run, I've only ever had one pirate.
I have seen pirate motif get used over and over and over again, and it's always the same damn character. It's like, you gotta stop. Just stop. And there's always somebody who thinks they're Jack Sparrow.
There's always a Jack Sparrow. Yeah,
you're not Captain Jack. Just stop.
I usually see the edgy assassin rogue that wants to hide in the corner. That's the biggest one I've seen around here.
Emo kid that's listening to Taking Back Sunday and My Chemical Romance.
Exactly.
You are not a Sadie fucking emo rogue fucking Jay. You are an absolute brawling hardcore kid that just wants to get his next high and beat people up.
Yeah, that guy. I don't like that guy either.
His sense of being has thus far given me breath into what I do for our
You gotta understand, the other two are lost, and I gotta insert a lot of things in there, and it's the best way I can do it.
Okay, I've got one more. This usually happens with like really weird group dynamics, but the group that always splits the party.
Splits, yeah.
God, we got one of those.
Splits the party. You're like, son of a bitch. Now I got completely different scenarios I got to play out, and everybody's waiting for their fucking turn, and it's like I've got to push this along, and then push that along, and then push this along.
We got one guy that always goes either too far ahead or he's trailing behind. He's never like in the pack.
Matthias, I've only had good experiences with pirates. Listen, I get it that Vikings are also pirates in a sense, but don't get me wrong. I don't want to regulate anybody's fun, but if you were the stereotypical pirate in a landlocked fucking continent, why the fuck are you there to begin with? You're a shitty ass pirate then.
That is so true.
You're a shitty fucking pirate if you were in a landlocked country with like 2 ponds and a river. Are you a river pirate?
I can see why you're not with your crew anymore.
Yeah. Clearly you don't know where the ocean is. But I also feel like as DM, and I mean, correct me or at least add on to how you feel about it. But I feel like when you start doing, or when you lead up to session 0, or if you don't have a session 0, when everybody's creating their characters, you kind of give them a brush feeling of the continent and where they're starting, so that they have kind of an idea to make that character somewhat like give them a reason for why they're there in the first place.
Yeah, so always I have like 8 backstory questions that I send out to everybody. I'm just like, give me a sentence. Here's where we're starting. Here's a brief write-up on where we're starting.
Right, yeah. The PWPP, the Pirate Witness Protection Program. I will kill the shit out of your pirate. He's an idiot. I will do that because Chris Sheets always killed the shit out of my fun characters that annoyed the crap out of everybody.
I'm playing a pirate next campaign.
God damn it! I gave you an idea. Well, I'm just gonna do I'm just gonna do the dungeon in Stanley Copperbottom voice, and you're not gonna like that either.
It's okay.
I knew one DM. He just hated gnomes. Just couldn't stand gnomes. All the gnomes had to go.
Stanley Copperbottom was a gnome. And he talked like this.
See, you were playing at that table, you would have been dead.
I'm sure, because that's exactly what happened to Stanley Copperbottom. He got fucking ripped apart by a bunch of rabid wolves.
He probably had a terrible experience with Travelocity or something.
Yeah, 100%. Poor Stanley just wanted to be liked. He was a sorcerer that didn't know he was a sorcerer, and every time that he casted, it was painful and it scared him.
That's interesting. Did he figure out that he was a sorcerer over time?
No, he just knew that he was evicted from the Underdark, from the colony of deep dwarves, or gnomes. Deep gnomes that he was with, and he wore a wood burning stove as kind of like a caress that opened.
Interesting.
And he had a tall pointy hat and goggles on his forehead because he was also a tinkerer. And he wound up just getting into a lot of hijinks in his childhood, blowing shit up and smashing some really sacred machines. And they had enough of Stanley shit. Yeah, they had enough of Stanley shit. He got kicked out up into the Upworld, and I played Upworld for like the '90s movie as a gnome that just was wanting to be accepted.
Yeah, you definitely would have died. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it. Deciding everything about your character before session 0, it always leads up to the lone wolf exploit. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Yeah. I like the idea that everybody. I like to, at least as a DM, try to niche or tie at least 1 or 2 players together in some way. or if the players do it themselves. I like it when players do it themselves. There's a reason why they're getting along, and there's a reason why there is a relationship there somehow.
For Icewind Dale, we all sat down today on Discord and we worked that out. We worked out who knew who. We rolled for stats together. We rolled for a random feat together. So yeah, it was a good time.
That's awesome. That is awesome, and it gives you just enough realism with the randomization of just how the world works. I mean, real life is cluttersome and ridiculous. You don't know what's coming next, so you just throw on that dice and going, okay, it looks like I got that.
Yep.
See how this is going to work.
I do let people re-roll remarkably terrible stats. Like we shoot for the epic system because D&D, like it's a game we should be having fun and feeling epic. So we go for we roll 4d6, drop the lowest, and we shoot for an overall of 70.
Okay.
So, yeah,
you're looking for Colossus killers.
Yeah, I mean, I like running hardcore monsters. My players like having powerful characters, so it works out.
Okay, yeah, so you're basically trying to turn them into Apache gunships while you're shooting Patriot missiles and Tomahawk missiles at them.
That is the dream. That is the dream. That is a surprise session. No, I'm kidding. But yeah.
By the way, nuclear launch detected. What do you guys do? The scene is yours. That's when an elder bronze dragon show. A fellow wins in the air, and you always got the one idiot like, "I'm gonna go kill a dragon." They're like, "You're gonna die, dude."
You love it when that happens.
Yeah, everybody that wants to go after the dragons, I'm like, you don't know, son. You don't know yet, but you're gonna find out when you find one. I often thought about this, and I don't know if you like. Being that you homebrew, I'm assuming that you like to homebrew items as well. I was thinking about homebrewing a dragon summoner stick, just and then leaving like a field manual, like the summoners book, and just like leaving it to the imagination of the curious cat to let them know that they could summon a dragon, and then they summon a dragon. What now? What do you know? Die?
So I gave my players, I was running an Acquisitions Incorporated campaign over quarantine because it was the easiest way. Like people could come in and out. There was no serious commitment to that. And I gave them Tharizdun, which is one of the elder evils from like old school D&D. Was the big bad evil guy of the whole campaign. Yeah. And he's like the prince of elemental chaos. And his cage was being taken apart. So I gave them a part of his cage early in the campaign. And they were like, well, what does it do? So they spent the whole session playing with it, and it would randomly cast 9th level spells based off of what they rolled off of a percentile die.
Ooh, this is neat.
Yeah. They put it back in the box after they cast Storm of Vengeance over their city. So
oh, my sweet summer child. You are correct there, Matthias. That sounds like something that our group would do 100%. Find something like Reggie that casts a level 9 or 10 spell and continue to whip him at things to try and blow him up.
Exactly.
Gino, dragon is a meal fit for kings. I'm more of a common man. You've had dragon before at medieval times, don't lie.
Yeah.
So we've really got into D&D. Do you got anything that you want to express to everybody in the viewership here on D&D and kind of your commission to them?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think, in this hobby, in tabletop gaming and role-playing games, no matter what game you decide to play, there's something out here for everybody, whether you're into the story, you're into learning how class mechanics work, you're into the building and the painting. I know some people that just like to build and paint. There's something out there for you in the hobby, and just check it out and have fun with it.
Excellent. We're going to move on to a subtopic before we hit the hour mark here. You said that you were also into BattleTech.
Yes, I have dabbled in BattleTech.
I want to know how you feel about BattleTech.
I think it's a good game. I think, overall it's well written. It has a solid core system. I just wish it had more support and more of a community.
Do you hear that, Whiz Kids? Do you fucking hear that? Get up off your asses and start investing in your game. Quit playing with the hero clicks crap. We don't want hero clicks.
We want BattleTech.
BattleTech. Give us BattleTech.
Like, people just aren't going to get into it if there's not a community for it. That's why people play 40K and D&D more than any other games. We have this community. There needs to be that for BattleTech too.
Yeah, Gamers Workshop continues to push out content, continues to push out things, continues to create. For some odd reason, the only thing that's being created right now is Super Robot Deathmatch on MechWarrior Online. BattleTech, the turn-based game, is great. I picked it up as soon as I got the PC. I picked it up. It's great. I enjoy it. But the fact of the matter is that the novels are still being written, and yet the tabletop game or their first attempt at a role-playing game for the BattleTech universe has just stopped in like 93 or 94.
Yeah, and like WizKids, I mean, it's WizKids. They've got so much. Like, they could do it. It wouldn't be hard for them.
I'm mad now because I'm so passionate about BattleTech. If those of you who aren't familiar with BattleTech, go ahead and give it a good Google search. Maybe get a couple novels.
Do that now.
A couple novels that I suggest are Dagger Point, Flashpoint, The Twilight of the Clans, Blood of Krensky, because I'm a clanner. So I grew up playing MechWarrior, Mech Commander, Mech Commander Gold. Those are my jams. So check that out. It's a great title. Do you have any other tabletop games, board games, lesser known games that you might want people to know about? Because for me, there's tons of them that I don't know shit about.
So Conflict 47. If you've not checked out Conflict 47, go check out Conflict 47.
I'm gonna write that down right now.
Like, if you've ever played, it's with the K. So if you've ever played Bolt Action, which is like a historical tabletop game, Conflict 47 is like, what if World War II kept going, but robots and aliens showed up? And it is an insanely fun game. I played it on Tabletop Simulator a bit, and I am planning on ordering two armies for the channel as soon as I'm able to.
Oh, right on. So Conflict 47 is I assume a miniature-based war game?
Yeah, it's miniature. It's not 32, it's 28 millimeter scale, but it's great. It's so much fun.
Okay, we'll have to check that out. Chill, have you ever heard of the role-playing game called Chill?
I have not heard of Chill, no.
Chill is a very rare game to find. It's a Game Master book. However, it's based in the dark future of a metropolis Earth that has cyborg zombies, werewolves, you name it. It's like if Blade Runner, a horror movie, if Blade Runner was a horror movie, and placed on Earth, and Earth was kind of like a hive world.
That's cool. Yeah. More games now that you said werewolf that I think doesn't get enough attention. Vampire Masquerade. That is another really cool game.
Vampire Masquerade. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm thinking too. More games, more fun.
Vampire Masquerade. Call of Cthulhu. I know it's it's a popular one, but it's a ton of fun. We're going to be running that. Yeah, we're running that.
Is that the one where it's got a massive world board and you can have like up to 8 players? Players at Eldritch Horrors.
That is Eldritch Horror, which is like the board game version of Call of Cthulhu, which is also awesome. I love Eldritch Horror. But
I played it once and it was amazing.
Yeah. Call of Cthulhu is the role-playing equivalent of Eldritch Horror.
Okay, Call of Cthulhu.
We will be running a Call of Cthulhu one-shot on my channel on Halloween, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
That'll be fun to watch. So just to kind of dial back down to the Eldritch Horror so that everybody knows, it's very player friendly. It's explained quite a bit. There's a lot of pieces though. But once you get a good concept of how the game works, anybody can pick it up. 4, 5, 3 players can play it, and it's a team collaborative effort to stop the horror from happening. And what Brandon, Chris, and Brandon's wife Chelsea did was they had me over for a game session. We weren't playing D&D. They said we'll just play a board game, and I was like, okay, I'll come over with a 6-pack and we'll do the damn thing. But my ambition wasn't like I wanted to play D&D. I don't know shit about the board games are discussing. I don't play apples to apples or Cards Against Humanity. It'd be stupid.
Right.
They bring out this huge ass box and set it on the dining room table in the Sheets residence, and then we're like, all right, since you're a new player, as 3 people are literally trying to get all the pieces sorted out. They're all in different plastic bags because clearly they played this game before. And they're like, you get to pick the horror. I'm like, wait, what? There's like 7 or 8 different horrors for, basically 7 or 8 different scenarios that'll straight up kill you, and you're trying to fight against.
Yep.
So I picked what I thought was the baddest looking one. Like, he just looked cool. And everybody was just like, oh, shit. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, that's the worst one to play against. I was like, I didn't know. The one that reminded me of a corn demon.
That's brutal. That's
the one that reminded me of a bloodthirster. That's what it reminded me of. So I was like, dude, that's familiar to me, so that looks badass. Turns out that we all died. But it was fun getting to the death. Yeah, it was fun getting to the death.
It's the same thing in Call of Cthulhu. It's not like D&D where you can beat up everything. Most of the time is spent running.
Yeah, that's pretty much the beginning of the game. I thought I was winning, and then
that's
in the middle, I was running for my life the whole damn time. So,
in order to stay ahead of my Wi-Fi issues, I'm going to do one thing. I'll be right back.
Copy that. We're going to go ahead and plug then. Here in a little bit. So, everybody, tonight, join Lou and Thad for Lou Starsky Plays Ball. Boom, 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 boom. They're going to have a special guest. Also, following...
Music.
Yeah. They're going to have music. Music is good. Everybody likes music. But following Lou Starsky Plays Ball is the Nameless program, and they're going to be talking about in episode 17, what? Change. Join JJ, please. Go love them. Go like them. All you ladies out there on my list, I'm just going to shove this freaking show up your ass. You need to come hang out. Need to come hang out with Jay. You need to come hang out with Ninja.
Oh yeah, it's a good time.
So we got Jake in the stream with us from Monsters and Munchkins. We've been talking a lot about some nerd topics, some nerd subjects, because that's what we do here.
Yeah.
We'll go right into what you were saying. I'm sorry.
No. I was just saying Call of Cthulhu isn't a game where you beat stuff up. It's a game where you get beat up and you spend time running and trying to get people out of mental hospitals because they went insane.
Is that exactly why Justin said that? I'm all about Mansions of Madness.
Yeah. Yes. Mansions of Madness is actually another Cthulhu Lovecraft-esque board game.
Okay, I'm going to have to put that down too, because I have never heard of that. Mansions of Madness. I've got a lot of learning to do, everybody.
Yeah, there's so many games out there that just aren't as popular, so they just kind of get swept under the rug. But what's that? I've heard and I've seen the emblems of, what is it, Catan or Catan? Have you played that game? Yeah.
What is the premise of that game?
So Settlers of Catan I've actually got on my bookshelf that you can't see. But basically, you're just a bunch of dudes trying to survive and be better than all the other dudes. So you can help people out, but it's also competitive.
So it is definitely a PvP-esque game to play.
Oh, 100%. 100%. If you can help people out while helping yourself the most, that is the goal.
Really? Okay, so it's like Monopoly, but you can really steal people's land.
It's like Monopoly, but if you lose, you start.
So you can give people plague blankets if you wanted.
Exactly.
So that's dirty pool. So
yeah, there's an expansion called Settlers, which is even more hardcore.
Now, conceptually, is it you playing an individual character or a conglomerate of characters trying to succeed in settling?
On Catan?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like an actual character. You're just playing basically any random person who would go and try to set up in this area.
Okay, so you're basically like a conglomerate of settlers.
Yeah, it's less of an RPG and more of just a board game.
Okay, so it's more of a strategy game than anything.
Exactly, yeah.
I got you.
Good board games too. Yeah, that's another rabbit hole.
Yeah, no, I come from the generation of Battle Masters and Stratego and Othello. Yeah. And Risk. We played a lot of Risk in my family.
Risk caused a lot of arguments in my family.
Yeah, a lot of toss tables happened on New Year's Eve in the extended family-wide game of Risk.
Are you guys both in the Midwest?
No, Northeast.
Northeast. They say never to play board games with anyone from the Midwest or anywhere they have cold winters, because that's all they do in the winter.
I do have cold winters.
So do I.
There it is.
Never play board games with somebody in the Midwest.
I never play board games. I'm in Los Angeles. We go to the beach in the winter, you know.
So play a game of Go on the beach there, Jay. It's the game of Lords and Warriors.
Yeah, I can play some Korean Go Stop. Have you ever heard of that?
Is it like Go, the Japanese Go, or okay?
Yeah.
I played Go quite a bit and have gotten my ass kicked. I think Jake froze again.
Yeah, I think you did too.
It's okay. We're gonna get ready to wrap up here shortly. We'll close with him once he gets back. But yeah, so I would love to play a game of Go on the beach with you on the West Coast.
My uncle, when I was a kid, I was really good at the game. He used to take me to these gambling parlors, and I would sit there and just make up a shitload of money playing Go because they didn't know how I would play. And these gambling parlors in Korea, it's the same, 20, 30 people that go in there every time. So you can kind of get a read on people. But as a kid, they were like, "Who's this kid?" I had to be like 12 years old.
Beating the shit out of
good at it. Yeah, I was beating the shit out of all of them. Word got out, and then I couldn't go anymore.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious. It's like, I don't know why my youngest beats the shit out of her older sister at Guess Who. I mean, she's just in kindergarten. My middle kid's in 3rd grade. And for some odd reason, my youngest just kicks her ass at Guess Who.
Yeah, my ex-girlfriend was from Michigan, and she always wanted to play board games, and I was like, why? Play a video game instead?
Yeah.
The beach? Can we do something else? Why do you want to play a board game?
Oh man, I don't know. I think the allure of board games to me, especially if it like gets company to come to you or you go to them, especially people that you've known for a very long time. I don't know. Maybe it is a Midwest thing, but there's something nice and comfy about it, I guess, and fun because everybody's drinking and eating.
Yeah, it's what you do with your family and your close friends, and I get that. That sounds fun if it's winter and there's nothing else to do. But in the summer,
we've done a couple outdoor D&D sessions.
Okay, but it's not as frequent, right?
No, not as frequent.
Yeah,
it's once, but generally, it would be hard to. I mean, we played in the summer, but we weren't as hardcore as we were in the winter. Yeah, I guess you could say that seasonally wise, but you never know.
Yeah, I think our man's dead. Maybe we should wrap it up. Let's go ahead and plug.
So too. Again, if everybody could follow, like, subscribe to the TMI Network Facebook. You'll see all these shows on that platform. But you can also go to Lou Starsky Plays Ball. They'll be having a show tonight following us. They will have Thad joining him as well as a musical guest. Thad from Thank You for Your Service. Sorry, I fucked that up. You can punish me later. Thad's got a great Go ahead, Thad. Hammer it out. All right, fuck you, Thad.
Well, of course, definitely tune in.
He's lagging out because I think he's got 2 PCs on.
You done threw me off my.
Oh, KY5 here, newest low. We're making fun of each other.
Yeah, it happens.
Yes, it does. But at least, if you guys could, join them. And then following Lou Starsky Plays Ball, we have the Nameless Program. They are keyed up for episode 17.
Dial the fuck in.
Dial the fucking in. Also got some fresh-ass content coming your way with this. Some special fresh-ass content. 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. They'll be discussing change.
Oh, here comes Jake. Let's say goodbye to him.
Dude, my connection's just been a nightmare.
Oh, it's okay, Jake. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
You got anything closing for everybody?
Closing? Definitely, if you check out my channel, that'd be really appreciated. But like I was saying earlier, like there's so much out there in tabletop gaming, whether that's role playing or, war games or painting or modeling. Find something that you like and do it, because it's a great way to relieve stress and have a good time, especially in this crazy world.
I love it.
Absolutely. And it's safe.
Yeah, it's safe. And you can do it socially distanced. So
more power to everybody. Thank
exactly.
you all. Thank you all. Thank you, Jake, so much for coming on KY5, dude.
Of course.
really appreciate it. We'll love to have you back on, bud.
Yeah, I'd love to come back on after I get my campaign started.
Absolutely. We'll be looking forward to seeing your guys' content just boom.
All right. I gotta go finish editing a video. So
go do your thing. Go do your thing, bud.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. My pleasure, bud. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining KY5. We are calling it. Everybody have a good night. Stay safe. Don't kick your dog. Don't kick your husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, or other types of things that you have that would put you in jail. Otherwise, I'm Fury Scumfuck. See you guys later.
Uh, 2020, Bonnie and Clyde. Tell a little story. And you know who it is. MK Ultra.
27 hearts beat.
I'm the best, yo, stylish, trash, recycling. My bitch fuck yo bitch with another bitch, I'm recycling. I'm the shit with another beat, I'm deciphering. Ooh, these niggas can't hide from him. Got a squad full of them, we go jekyll and hide on them. Never was a fool, so I pull it with a bullet. Gotta pull it with a pull, it's like A-Dot did. Pull up in they scared, new say bulletin ain't there. That's they made me heard he did. Lyrical prowess, not typical route to keep niggas around me. They fuck up the vibe. I'm crashing, no vising in the median. Vehicular homicide. Driving in the right side, driver swearing his bitch was down the ride. They never get caught up, didn't get brought up. We can call them Bonnie and Clyde. Clyde was a motherfucker, always hitting the blunt. But Bonnie was a cheap bitch, selling the cunt. Clyde was that nigga, always holding the gun. Clyde was that nigga, always holding the gun. But Bonnie watched them doors and them pockets get run. Up and down the ass, they were having some fun. Clyde wrote a check that his mouth couldn't cash. Now he's laying in the ditch. Bonnie's still selling ass. Come in, baby. No moral, this disorder. Got it from the top, got a disorder. Piss on them list longer than Appalachia Cola. Tatted on my dick, call me. Now I'm channeling, climate the penalin, hell too hot, I'm telling them. It's the rigorous more to say typical or this who I am. I'm the verse king lurking, never put the pen down. Wouldn't want to be a man now, that's a man down. Fandom, Clyde, get him now, fan out in the phantom. I run it down, burn it now, learn now, hurt now, lurk now, birds now. You assume that I'm human with a syphilis, super killer, but I heard assume what the fuck you really doing with it. Soon really gonna do it, fumble do it, doesn't really mumble do it. Put him in the pot and make it come to it. Rappers get the rappers in the cash fast. Too long with a bone and the last song, fast off. Wouldn't want to be a man now, that's the last song. Bitch, fuck out of here, and you know.